Good evening. This is Baby Podcast 2. This week's book is about thinking. That's why I have my little t shirt on that says think. I've been reading Your Deceptive Mind, The Science of Critical Thinking by Stephen Novello. And in it, he talks about all the different ways that our mind deceives us when we're thinking about different things that we hear and different things that we read. So today I thought I'd discuss with you 5 barriers to critical thinking that you might want to watch out for when you're thinking about all the different things that you hear and read. By the way, critical thinking is essential to using your overall experience, background, your common sense, and other attributes to become more aware of how your efforts for success are being spent. When you have barriers to critical thinking, it can seriously harm your ability to move forward. When you're aware of these barriers, you can better overcome them and focus your thinking on what's going to move you forward rather than getting stuck behind a barrier, unable to move forward. So we all know that once we know about something that's holding us back, when you know better, you do better. So, number one, thinking in black or white. Some people ignore a situation's complexities by thinking that there's only one way to solve a problem. The problem is placed in a category, given a label, and that's the only way that matters. Thinking in black and white comes from our need to have certainty in our lives, but it's false logic to assume that everything is totally one way. Number two, second barrier, thinking with the ego. Egocentrical thinking is thinking with a lack of understanding others' wants and needs. It limits your thinking to only your point of view and doesn't have room for others' ideas. This thinking process is deeply embedded in our psyche, and it sometimes takes deliberate effort to overcome it. Number three, social thinking. The drone mentality of social thinking only lets us see things in the way of the popular point of view, or the way that our spouse, companions, parents, and friends think. Thinking outside the box is almost impossible when you have a barrier of social thinking, and it can greatly impede the critical thinking process. Number four, authoritative thinking. Just because someone in authority says it's true doesn't mean it is. You've likely been swayed at one time or another by political leaders who say one thing is true only to find out later that it was a lie or a misleading way of thinking. The authority could be a person, peer group, institution, or anything that makes you think that they're right because they're in an authoritative position. And number five is judgmental thinking. When you judge something or someone based on moral evaluation, it's usually done in haste and based on our past in some way, such as the way we were raised, educated, or other values and more. Judgmental thinking is usually non rational thinking and can block understanding and insight about a person or an issue. It's important that we recognize our own barriers to the critical thinking process and replace those barriers with rational and reasoned thinking, and then make a concentrated effort to avoid the barriers. In other words, make it make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's nonsensical. So this week, use your noggin. Until next week.